It's good day to brew, baby. What is up, YouTube? It's Roy Millsy, back with Hometown Commander, back for an episode of $50 Upgrades. The show where I cover my proposed $50 upgrade to the Precon in question. And today we're talking about the Creative Energy Precon from Modern Horizons 3, headed up by Satya, Aetherflux Genius. 4-mana commander. It says whenever it attacks, we create a tapped and attacking token that's a copy of up to one other target non-token creature we control. We get 2 energy. At the beginning of the next end step, we sacrifice that token unless we pay an amount of energy equal to its mana value. Satya, I think, is really fun for a lot of reasons. One, it's always cool to get copies of other things you have, but I think Satya's ability is really important because there are a lot of creatures that make energy on ETB, meaning that we can copy those and get more. So a lot of the focuses for this deck are going to be finding ways to copy creatures more, getting more energy in ETB, finding things to do with energy, and overall just trying to improve the basis of the deck. I'm mainly going to cover what I'm adding. I'm going to tell you what I'm getting rid of at the end. A lot of it's just the cards I thought were the least relevant for the cards I was putting in. Whatever you choose to cut for the 18 cards I believe I'm adding would be your choice, but that's just my proposed cuts for it. So let's get started. As a quick disclaimer before I even get into my 18 ads, if you wanted to literally just buy a copy of the Fallout Precon, the Dr. Madison Lee Precon, it probably would be a really good investment just to smash the decks together. I personally like Satya a little bit better, Satya more than I like Dr. Madison Lee, but I think both of them are very relevant. Both of them work for each other, and I think no matter how you choose to let who lead those two decks between the two of them and combine the decks together, I think you end up with a really good deck. So if you're looking to just kind of go with something a little bit more interesting and get more bang for your buck, you can do that. Not entirely sure what the cost of a Precon energy commander deck is right now. It's looking between 50 and 60 from what I can tell, but I think it's well worth the investment. But if you want to see my $50 upgrade, which I got 18 cards. These are the 18 cards that I would add. Automated assembly line from that deck. It says whenever one or more artifact creatures you control do a combat damage to a player, we get an energy. And for 3 energy, we can make a tapped robot artifact creature token. This is just going to give us a way to use our energy to go wide, make a ton of artifacts, and take advantage of some of the artifact synergies we have in our energy synergies. Brotherhood Scribe, we can tap to get an energy. Activate only if we control 3 or more artifacts. And whenever we get 1 or more energy during our turn, creatures we control get +1/+1 on turn. This is a really beneficial effect because it can take a board, especially if we go wide, and make it really big and really hard for our opponents to deal with. Chaos Warp, another just good piece of removal. It can hit absolutely anything. And yes, you give your opponents the chance of getting something better off the top, but the question comes down most of the time, if something's really important and you need to get rid of it, you're okay with them getting something else to take out the one thing you really, really needed to take out. Dispatch becomes probably one of the best 1-mana white removal spells when you have 3 or more artifacts, just exiling the creature straight out. No life gain like with Plowshares, no land like with Path to Exile. You're literally just nuking something off the board, and we're going to have plenty of artifacts for the purposes of dispatch. Dr. Madison Lee, the commander of that deck, of course, we're adding in here, where we cast an artifact spell, we get an energy, and we can pay amounts of energy for 3 separate abilities to just take advantage and just really help the deck out. Guide of Souls gives a Soul Sister effect for the deck. Whenever a creature comes in, we gain a life and an energy. This works great with Satya because we can get that at least once every turn. And then whenever you attack, we can pay 3 energy. If we do, we can put 2 +1/+1 counters and a flying counter on target attacking creature and becomes an angel. Works great on Satya because we can make it bigger and harder to deal with. And it already has Menace, so it's already going to be tough to deal with to begin with. Giving it flying could make it unblockable into a lot of decks. Lae'zel makes a ton of sense. This effectively gives us another way to add an energy anytime we would get an energy counter, which is pretty great. That's very helpful. For us, this becomes another copy of something like, is it a Generatorium that we have in the deck already? Just to, get more and more energy. Liberty Prime, the alternate commander of that Fallout commander deck, is pretty darn great as well. Vigilance, Trample, Haste. Whenever it attacks or blocks, we have to pay 2 energy, and we can sack an artifact to get 2 energy and draw a card. Again, just a great way to give us a big threat, and then churn out some small, artifacts we make or whatever to draw a card and get some more energy. Panharmonicon just makes a ton of sense. Every creature coming in or artifact coming in is now going to get us twice the amount of energy for all the things that, say that, which is great. That's what we want. We want to get as much energy as possible. Phyrexian Metamorph can come as a copy of any creature on the battlefield or any artifact, which is really helpful. It can copy the key artifacts, maybe like an Aether Refinery or big artifacts like that, or it can come in as a copy of another creature. The only downside is that you don't want it to copy a legendary thing, but other than that, so many great targets, so many things that we can have for that. Rex Cyberhound's a fun one from that Fallout deck. Whenever it deals damage to a player, mill 2 cards and we get 2 energy, and we can pay 2 energy to choose a creature from a graveyard and exile it, and then Rex gets those activated abilities. Fun ability, decent attacker. It's just a cool way to kind of control our opponents a teeny bit. Saheeli the Sun's Brilliance is a great way to copy creatures or artifacts we control. But if we pick a creature that isn't an artifact, that copy becomes an artifact. It's a great way to, again, get more of these ETBs, get some more good value, and make sure that we're getting that extra bit of energy every turn to do the things we might want to do. Sentrybot's a fun defensive card. It costs 1 less for each creature attacking us. We can get it in the battlefield and get an energy for each creature attacking us. So a way to just get it in as a blocker, get a bunch of energy, and then we can pay 3 energy every combat to put a +1/+1 counter across the board and grow the team. Steel Overseer can tap to put a counter on each artifact creature control, which again, most of our deck is artifact creatures, so they're going to get bigger and bigger that way. Synth Infiltrator can come in as a copy of any creature on the battlefield except it's a synth and an artifact in addition to its other types. Again, copy the right things we want to come in, and then they're artifacts. They get to be artifacts for the purposes of all these other effects. Thassa Deep Dwelling is going to allow us to blink a creature at the end of every of our turns. Blink the right creature, blink it, have it come back in, get more energy, get more abilities. Thousand Moon Smithy is one of my favorite new artifact ways to just get a wide board. It gives us a gnome that's power and toughness is equal to the number of artifacts and creatures you control, which is going to get very big. And then start of our main phase, we can tap 5 untapped artifacts and creatures. If we do, we flip it over, and then we can get another gnome every turn as long as we use the mana from the land on the backside. Just a very easy way to grow kind of that construct, style of artifact creature token and just make it really big. And then Whir of Invention allows us to go get an artifact that we want and put it on the battlefield, and we can use our other artifacts to tap to help make it bigger. Whir of Invention is one of the best ways to tutor for artifacts other than, things like Fabricate. But it can just be very useful, especially since your tokens and things like that can help tap to make it bigger. Go get your important artifacts and get the push going. These are the 18 cards that I chose to cut from the deck. There's a lot of cards in here that I did want to keep and a lot of things that I think are great in their own right. But for the purposes of doing the things that I wanted to do with this deck, I felt the need to cut these. Of these 18 that I've cut, there are 1 or 2 that I probably would really consider bringing back in. Combustible Gearhulk makes a ton of sense with Satya, allowing it to get its ability again and again. Same thing with something like Skyclave Apparition. These are great creatures that have great ETB abilities, but I was trying to spin toward energy, spin more towards energy, spin more towards that blink, and so there had to be some casualties. But hey, these are my choice for the 18 cards I would cut. If you were to take this path, of course, you may have a different 18, and that's perfectly okay. It's your deck. You should make the decisions you want to make. This is just my way of proposing what I would do. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time.